Waiting. Hello to all you Spurs fans near and far. This is the Heart Now Here Spurs Fans Podcast, proudly sponsored by joinit.co.uk. We are back, and listen, it's a Sunday night. We've got one of us on assignment. Kevin is at the Lane as we speak, watching the Tottenham women against the Man United women. The three of us here, myself, Matty, and TJ, and we can finally say that we've won a match in the Premiership. We'd last won a match on the Premiership on December the 15th. It's now February the 2nd. Happy days, lads. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Happy to come on for a win for a change. Like you say, it's been a while, and it's a good week gone by and a big week ahead. So yeah, I'm feeling a bit more positive about life as a Spurs fan at the moment.
It is. I mean, obviously, we'll touch upon Thursday as well. Elfsborg, which we expected to win, but the way that we got it, born in N17, that win, as I said, 3 homegrown scorers, which was lovely. But Tej, I mean, welcome back, mate. We've missed you the last couple of weeks. Watching the game today, the first thing you said off air was Plan B. What you saying? What you reckon?
100%. Yeah, something else I told you as well is that I woke up this morning with a fucking pounding headache. And I thought, and then I sit there and I remember that Spurs are on as well, and I'm thinking, oh, she's only going to fucking ruin my weekend even more. I've got a pounding headache, and I've got to watch us fucking lose again. And but no, listen, I'll be honest with you. Like Brentford at home have been absolutely solid this season as well. You know, like I think they're the highest scorers at home this season or something like that.
They said that, yeah.
Yeah, there's a weird stat. They've scored the most goals at home more than any other team. But yeah, they've been getting results, Brentford, as well. And I mean, I know they fell off a little bit. They're a bit inconsistent, but still a tough place to go. And like we said off air, we've been crying out for Ange. Like I've always said, I'm massively Ange in, and you know. But the one thing I've always said is that he's a little bit stubborn in his tactics, given the fact we've got so many players out and all these players that are injured, and he's not really using what he's got available to its best. And I felt like today, like it was a defensive show. I thought there were some players out there that fucking shone in defence today, really stepped up, and the counter-attacking football. I thought we were good from set pieces as well. I mean, Sonny's corners, where the fuck have they come from? Like literally putting it right on the keeper every time. It's perfect. So yeah, like there's just loads of attributes today that we've been crying out for. Like utilize the players you've got available, and I felt like Ange and the team really executed that well today. We were by far not the most dominant of teams in that game. Like Brentford had the possession. They probably had the most. I think they had like 40 crosses in the game or something. And for us to nullify them, to go to Brentford and get a clean sheet is a feat in itself. But then to score 2 on a counter and shut up shop defensively, I thought the boys played really well today. A lot of people might knock the tactics, but I thought it was perfect in how he set up today.
Yeah, it was really good. And Matt, you know, you've been a real staunch supporter of Ange. You've talked about the injuries and how that's obviously depleted us and given us a tough time with results. How did you feel today and seeing us, you know, take a bit of a different plan, a different way to this game, and obviously getting a clean sheet and 2 goals to the good?
Boys, it feels weird, isn't it? Talking about us winning a game, like it feels actually weird. I literally don't know what to say. Like I was expecting to fully come on here and think, yeah, boys, same old story. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to blame the injuries. Now I don't even know what to say, mate. But all I can say is Ange's come under a lot of criticism during this year, and I'm pleased. One signing, boys. That's all it took. One signing to give this team a lift, yeah? One signing. Boys, like, I looked at that team before lineup and I saw, like, Kinski in goal, Poro, Spence, like, as the fullbacks. And then I see Gray and Davis. And I thought, what's happened to Van der Ven? And then I thought to myself, oh, boys, man, I don't even want to even think about today's game. And I was at football and I got in at half time. And I thought to myself, fair one, like, I'm loving this. And then second half, like even first half and second half, the way we defended was unbelievable. We sat deep and just counter-attacked Brentford. And like TJ said, I think Brentford have got the highest attacking goals in the Premier League at home.
Yeah.
Is it because I thought Brentford would sit in and let us attack them and they kind of attack us, but it was totally different. And I have. The Liverpool game in the Cup and the Man City game in the Cup, we've done it a couple of times where we sat in and we counter-attack teams. But I think there was just a couple of individual performances today that were outstanding. And we move on. We've got 3 points what we needed. So we are staying up, right, boys? Listen, we are staying up.
We are staying up. We are staying up.
Now for the treble. Now for the treble, boys. Now for the treble.
But another thing I'll say about that game as well today, right, is we had good in-game management as well. Like, we didn't look to go gung-ho at the end. Like, little things like Richarlison going down and like staying down for a bit. Like, just buying that extra 30 seconds. And little things like that all over the pitch, not all bombing forward. And yeah, I just thought it was a really clever game from the team.
Also, T, don't you think it's about time we started doing some game management like that? Do you know, like last 10 minutes, 100%. Keeping the ball and not looking for that second and third goal. But also, what I love, our corners now, we're doing to what other teams do to us and bully their goalkeepers. We've just been so nice of a club recently to just allow teams to do that to us. And I feel like we're finally doing that to other teams now. We saw it against Man United when Bergvall blocked off the keeper, and then today smothered the keeper. And Sonny again, like own goal from a corner. That's what we needed to do ages ago because we were getting made mugs off out there from every set piece.
So I guess, yeah, it's really interesting because it was a really sort of mature performance in some ways. I felt that we worked the ball well from the back in most cases. It was a couple of times Kinski gives the ball away. I think that's the problem with playing that style. I think that happens to clubs as good as Real Madrid, to teams like Accrington Stanley. If you're going to play that style, it's a risk. But by and large, we were very mature in our performance. What do you think, TJ, has changed from this time last week to now? Obviously a win under our belt in Europe, but it's a totally different context. What changes in a moment like that? Why did it feel so mature this week to really sloppy last week and the week before, obviously with Everton?
I think Ange has been watching Matty on TikTok play Football Manager. That's what I think. I think he's picked up a few things for Matty. No, all jokes aside, I don't know what's caused the tactical switch, but there was clearly some sort of direction out there that told the players not to go as gung-ho as they have been all season. And that, for me, is what made a difference. Like, we still played a relatively high line, but when we went ahead, you could see us drop back a bit. We did consolidate. And I don't know why that's happened. I don't know what's been said. I don't know why Andrew's all of a sudden... Listen, who knows? It might have just been the players who just decided to consolidate on their own. Who knows? I actually have no idea why it's changed in a week. But following on from the win on Thursday, I think we needed that because even in the Europa League, the Hoffenheim one was a bit started getting a bit tensive near the end. Listen, Elfsborg are no mugs, right? They got some results in the Europa League this season, but at home we should be turning teams like that over. And to get the result we did there, I think that gives everyone a boost, especially from the youth players. And then to come into this game and do you know what? I genuinely sat there this morning and I've switched the way my mentality with Spurs. I just can't wait to get back to the cup games now. I'm like, fuck the league. Yeah. I don't give a shit. Just show me the cup games. That's what I want to watch now. That's what I'm interested in. But we can't forget how important it's your bread and butter. The league is your bread and butter. And I don't know what it is that Andrew said to him or what made it, but I think the pressure of next week has probably been in his faults as well. So that's the reason that Van der Ven's rested. But I think maybe he's sitting there thinking, boys, we don't need to play all out 90 minutes attacking football. And I think as a result, you see the consolidation, you see the boys drop the line a little bit. You see us try and time waste a little bit near the end. And for me, those little gamesmanship kind of tactics as well that we have is what brought us the win today. You kind of, from having that, it's brought us the win.
Do you not think in the last, the Everton game and today, he's tried two different tactics? Yes, Elfsborg, he kind of went with what he knows. But Everton, he went with a three at the back, didn't he? Which I do believe can work. Yeah, when we've got Van der Ven, Ramiro, and stuff like that in the team, I do believe that three at the back can work. But then today he's gone with a different approach. So he is adjusting his tactics, isn't he? By game. But people are going to say he's just got a plan A, all guns blazing. It wasn't like that today. And I don't think it was kind of like that against Everton. Everton, he just tried the three at the back where it was kind of probably the wrong game to do it with the players available to do it with. I think if he had Van der Ven, Radu and Ramiro as a back three in that game, you could go for it at the back and I feel it would be a totally different game. But I do think he's tried to adjust to certain things, what's happening in the last couple of games. And do you know what? People slate Ange, but mate, I do believe there is change in him and I think he's listening, you know. I think he thinks, I can't do this my way no more. I'm gonna have to adjust.
Yeah, I guess then with saying that, Matt, one big inclusion today turned out to be man of the match. Jed Spence, what did you make of him?
You have to blame Ange in this a bit, yeah, because why was he not playing at the start of the season? Like when we had our full strip, what was happening with Spence? It's only that Spence has come in, he got isolated from the Europa League team, he's come in and been absolutely brilliant. Like what was it with Conte? Like what was it with Ange at the beginning? Why wasn't Spence given this chance?
I think I know what this is. I think it's something that he doesn't realise that he does. I get the impression he's quite nonchalant. Like he sort of walks around, very laid back, you know. And the problem is that sometimes a lot of people sometimes view that as your work ethic. And if you're very like laid back and a bit cool and a bit chilled, not too bothered, I think sometimes that may come across a little like you're lazy. It's not always the case. We've seen it where it is the case, like people like Ndombele, but with Jed Spence, I don't actually think that's the case. I think the guy probably is quite good in training, but I think maybe he's like nonchalant attitude, kind of like, yeah, whatever you need. Kind of. This is purely the impression I get from watching him in like training videos and interviews and stuff like that. But I think that might be why he's kind of gets isolated unfairly, in my opinion. But
yeah,
listen, was it M Bueno, whatever the geezer's name is, M for Brentford?
Bueno, yeah.
I thought he had him in his pocket. I thought he managed him so well today.
But he done it against Salah. He done it against Salah in the Carabao Cup semi-final, didn't he? Like man-marked Salah.
I agree.
Yes. Yeah, so what in an interview after the game, they spoke to Ange and he's like, yeah, I'm really pleased for the lads. He's knuckled down in training. He's got much more mature as well. So I do believe there is that nonchalantness that probably came along as a bit of a bad attitude. That was the first thing I heard when Ange first come in, because he played him with Ndombele in those early games in the pre-season. And then they were training separate to the rest of the team. And I believe it was simply come down to an attitude problem. So he went on loan. He's come back in, you know, he probably got a bit older, a bit wiser, a bit smarter about, look, this is my career, let's not fuck it up. And, we're getting the rewards of it. But the thing I would say now, though, is he's currently playing at left back. When Udogie comes back, does he stay left back and take Udogie's place? Or is he moving to right back where Porro, who, amazing as his crosses are, gives the ball away so many times? What does Jed Spence do if at the moment, if everyone was fit at the back line now?
With me, I would Porro, with the attacking options we've got currently, I think I would push Porro further forward.
Really?
With Spence as the right fullback and then Ndogie is the left fullback. With like when you got Van der Ven and Ramiro. I think with Porro, if you're playing against a weakened team, not weakened team, let's say like, I don't know, like an FA Cup tie against Tamworth, I think you would have Porro on because we're going to be attacking more than we'll be defending. But I do think away from home, if we're going to play this high line against fast players, having that back four with Ndogie, Van der Ven, Ramiro and Spence, I think you can play that high line all day long because we'll always recover.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with it. I just feel like now where Spence is almost becoming, a fixture on the team sheet. I mean, I don't think we can add him to the knockouts for the Europa. Is it once you name your squad, or can
you can
knockout stage?
Knockout stage, you can rename. I think you get to add 3 players. I think that's what it is. You get to add 3 players.
He's definitely coming in then, and I guess that he's showing it. Got man of the match today. He's working hard. He's enjoying his football, as we clearly see. He's coming up against the best in Salah and doing a great job there. But then we've also got Archie Gray, who again had an accomplished game at centre half. These boys are coming back. We saw Van der Ven for a half against Elfsborg on Thursday. What happens, TJ, to Archie Gray in the next like 10 days, if Angie's right in saying everyone's coming back, and obviously looks like another defender's come in. Where does Archie Gray fit in to things as we go into February and beyond?
If I'm being totally honest, I think Archie Gray in the CDM role ahead of Bissouma or someone like that at the moment works for me. Like Bissouma for me has been really hit and miss this season. Like when he's been in the team, I'm kind of like, I think his passing's been a bit off. So, but I think Archie Gray deserves a run at natural position, given how much of a fucking steward he's been in defence this season. And for me, Archie Gray is probably the unsung hero of the team this season. Kulusevski gets a lot of the credit because of everything he creates. You know, his flair. I think he's been a dominant performance. He's pretty much been consistent the whole season. But Archie Gray's had to marshal three positions that he doesn't usually play as an 18-year-old or 19-year-old, whatever he is, all season, and done fucking well as well. He's acted like a leader in that position. And for a young man to be so mature and have so much about him in those positions, how can you not include him? How can you not want to include him in your first 11 in some way, especially when he's that versatile and been playing out of position all season anyway? I think he gets in ahead of Bissouma. Bentancur, I'd have over Bissouma at the moment. So I think Bentancur probably gets in there ahead of Archie Gray in that position at the moment. But listen, if things stay the way they are, there's going to be ample opportunity for these players to rotate. The one thing we've not had this season, I think it's where we suffered, is rotation. So being able to rotate on itself is going to be a big plus for us. There's no European football now till March, so we've got a whole February now, which by the way still has 7 games if we get through in the FA Cup. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So that could have been 9 games with the extra European thing. So we've done ourselves a massive favour because we get the midweeks off now. Literally after this week, we have 2 midweeks off, which is brilliant for us. So I think Archie Gray, you'll see him for the majority of the rest of the season, whether it's in some capacity or not. But that boy deserves his position in starting 11.
Yeah, interesting. We've got Kev. He's on the chat. Hello, Kev. He's at the lane as we speak. It's obviously Tottenham women against Manchester United women, which is weird. We're recording this at 7:45 p.m. If you're watching us live, if you're listening on the Spotify, we are recording this at 7:45 on a Sunday night. Spurs are 1-0 down as we speak at half-time against Man United ladies at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But Kev has said in the chat we defended like dogs today. Proud of my club today. Very, very happy. Shane 2388 on Instagram says he thinks Spence replaces Porro in a heartbeat. And he also says that he told you Mystic Matt strikes again. So you were right there, Matty boy. You were right, mate.
Boys, it's getting silly now. It's getting silly.
Did he get the score right? Did he get it right?
I said Spurs will win 3-1, didn't I? I think for Spurs, I can't remember. I said 2-0 or 3-1. I can't remember, but 3-1. It's 2 goals in there. I'll take that. 2-0. It's done.
That's impressive to call that. I wouldn't have called that.
And we'll go on to what we normally do here, but we'll start here because Kavinsky Nightglow on YouTube says Richarlison man of the match for Brentford today. He kept passing it back to their defence or losing the ball to them. He must be being sarcastic there then if you give him man of the match. But
he's saying man of the match for Brentford, as in he's Brentford's man of the match.
Oh, for Brentford, of course he is, yeah. Oh, right, yeah. Well, I mean, I like Richie. He works well.
I find that a crazy statement. I find that a crazy statement because I thought Richarlison worked his absolute arse off today, and he won his free kicks when needed. But he did not stop pressing that. Mate, we didn't have much of the ball today, like attacking wise. So you had to have Richie doing that Solanke role. Richarlison's only been back about a week or a week and a half from injury, and we're asking him to press like that today. It was mental. But I thought Richarlison was good today.
Yeah, and I'll ask you then. I'll start with you, Matt. There, who was your man of the match?
Jed Spence all day, mate. The geezer was just an absolute machine.
Yeah, he was great. And like we said, he's been working hard. He deserves his flowers. TJ, did you feel the same?
Yeah, totally concur. I don't see how you can look past it. Jed Spence nullified in Bueno, who's like I said, Brentford at home this season have been absolutely free flowing. And yeah, I think sorry, I'll just see that geezer's comment. I think Jed Spence was I think Jed Spence literally had in his pocket. I think without Jed Spence there, we could have had some problems. So yeah, 100% Jed Spence for his defensive showing today.
Interesting, because obviously Kavinsky Nightglow gave Richarlison man of match for Brentford. So I'm sure if I asked him for his dick of the day, he would give Richarlison. Matt, who would be your dick of the day? Tough one when we did so well.
Dick of the day. Mate, I couldn't pick one today, a dick of the day. Like, I thought everyone was brilliant from the coaching team all the way through, you know. Dick of the day is probably Spurs going in for Disassi for Chelsea. Like, an absolute fucking dick move, you know. Like, what are we doing? So I'm gonna give that as the dick of the day, mate, because it's an absolute pathetic thing to do.
Well, I mean, that is an interesting dick of the day. Tej, like, was there anything on the pitch that you thought, any player on the pitch you thought, no, not for me? Tough one today. Sometimes
no, it is because I think it was a real kind of change attack today, and I think all the players executed it very well. I think it's tough. Again, I wouldn't call him a dick of the day. I think that's a bit harsh, but I still feel like Basuma probably doesn't really connect it as much as he should be. Like, it's part. Like I said, I highlighted it earlier, so I'll mention it again. Like, I just think he's kind of a little bit behind the play at the moment. Yeah, just his passing. I think where his position is so important to be accurate with your passing. When you're playing out from the CDM position, you need to be like bang on it, because if you give it away, you literally invite pressure. So I find that that's something for me that just breaks down the play for us, and he always holds on to it a little bit too long. I'm being super critical here because I can't be more positive about the performance today because of what it took to get that result. But if you're asking me and you're pushing me for one, probably Basuma was the weaker player on the pitch today.
Interesting. I mean, just to say man of the match, James Coops on YouTube gave it to Bentancur. He thought he was outstanding today. He thinks Richie keeps on slide tackling him. But, you know, Kev is on the chat at halftime at Tottenham. He really liked Richie today. So Richie's determination and fight today set the bar, because no Spurs fan on this earth thought we would have kept a clean sheet today. We did. And with that came some champagne moments. Champagne moment for you, Matt, would have been...
Sorry, boys, I had that mute. Mate, I'm going to give it to Ange, because I think he came with a different plan today, and we have been critical of him and stuff, like when he hasn't set up right, and I think he's set up perfect today. And it's a tough place to go, Brentford, and we walked away and we kept a clean sheet considering the defensive line we had out there as well. Unbelievable.
Brilliant. Just to say, our proud sponsors, Join It Limited, at Join It Ltd, said the man of the match for them was between Bentancur and Spence. So it's getting a nice sort of synergy here with everyone thinking the same. But then finally, when it comes to your champagne moment, Tej, who gets it for you?
Yeah, I think if you're looking for like a champagne moment, these are like your bicycle kicks and stuff like that. I think there weren't that many of them in this game. But I'd call it a champagne performance. And I think that's the back line, like you said. I think, including the keeper as well, because the keeper done well on a few of the attacks that we got in, especially the crosses into the box. I think we just looked really assured at the back today. And for what we've been through for the past 2 months, we haven't had that at all. So I'm just happy that the boys have gone away to a team that is free-flowing scoring and kept a clean sheet. You know, the last time we did that was City away, like all season. So obviously Southampton, but you know, we're talking like proper teams. You know what I mean? So no offense, Southampton fans, but pretty bad season, boys.
But no, it's interesting. I'm glad that we have put out there, because it's come at a time when in 4 days' time we've got it is no doubt now the biggest match of our season. It is the semi-final, second leg at Anfield, which is never nice. But we take a 1-0 lead there. Matt, we've obviously talked about a plan B today, and obviously thinking about how we play and came away to a ground in Brentford who have done so well and done really well with that. How do we approach Liverpool? Is it in the same way? What had, you know, different beast, but what do we do to try and get through to the final?
I think, again, it goes with... I think we have to kind of set up the same way like we did the first leg and Brentford. I think it worked for us, definitely in the first leg and that as well. I think it kind of... You have to look at the players available as well. Like, I don't know what's happening with Ramiro. No idea. Like, there's... does the new centre back come in? You know, no one knows. Like,
Big ask,
mate. We have to set up kind of a sit back, soak up pressure and counter attack, but it depends on the lineup because we can't go there with Ben Davies and Archie Gray as centre backs against like Salah and stuff like that. It's not going to work. It's a different type of animal. They're playing against Brentford to Liverpool. So I do think like Mickey van der Ven comes back in. I know he got rested this week and he's saying that he's having a full week of training for the Liverpool game. Oh, mate. Mate. Mate, as far as well, I need to double check with Kev. I think we're going up there for it. And
oh yeah.
Yeah, me and Kev. I think Kev's jumping in my motor. I'm not sure what's happening. I need to touch base with him if he's still in the chat. He might have just took my money and run. But boys, listen, I think we kind of need to set up similar how we have done. And hopefully we've got players back available for that game. And which will help us because I do think if we went with the same team that we've done today, we'd be going out.
Interesting, very interesting. And you know, TJ Matt there said about the new defender that coming in. Forgot his name now. Do you remember his name coming in?
Danso.
Kevin Danso. Yeah.
Danso. Oh, yeah, new one. Yeah, Danso.
Yeah.
Danso.
Yeah. Like, how would you feel about playing him in a second leg? And if Van der Ven is back for that, getting the minutes, getting fit for that, do we play the Tottenham Ange way that we have been when Van der Ven's there, or do we have that sort of plan B, a bit more secure with a 1-0 win? Well, 1-0 lead at our disposal.
You're talking about, begrudgingly me saying this, but the best team in the world right now, right? Like Liverpool are absolutely flying in every competition. So it's a tough one. Like I've got to eat humble pie a bit because I didn't give us anything in the home leg, and the fact the boys worked so hard and like I say, like you had players like Spence nullifying Salah. I thought again going forward, it was like very clinical when we did get the chances that we got. Anfield is notoriously a tough place in our history. Like we do not get results at Anfield very often. Saying that, all we need is a draw. Do we play for the draw? I don't think so. But I think you do have to respect what you're up against at the moment. They're not gonna rest players. It's a semi-final. They're gonna want to get to the final as well. They're gonna go for as many trophies as they can. Like I said, they're 9 points clear. I mean, I suppose Arsenal's won tonight, so they've still got a buffer. You know what I mean in the Premier League, and I think they'll walk the Premier League. And to be fair, with Arsenal, the only ones chasing them, I kind of hope they do. But listen, when it comes to player selection, I'm going to leave it to the man himself because I don't know how you set up in that game. But you've got to approach it in the same way that you've done the first leg, in my opinion. Put players in that are confident. That's probably the thing I would look for. Players that are confident in the dressing room right now. Players that are buzzing. I'd throw them in. We've got players coming back like VDV will play, obviously. I think he said on the interviews before this game, so the press conference before this game, he said the other players are 10 days away. That reads to me as next like Villa more than Thursday, but who knows? You might have a couple coming back in.
But was Spence not on that list, TJ, and then he put him in Sunday for today? Spence was on that list for 7 to 10 days, weren't he?
He was, mate. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, who knows? Exactly, who knows? I think you've just got to play players that feel strong and confident. So for me, I'd like Archie Gray. He goes in there for me. Even if let's say you had Romero back, you probably want Archie Gray in there at the moment because of the way he feels. And a lot of people will disagree with me for that. But I know Romero's probably like 3 weeks off anyway. But yeah, listen, there's a couple there. Like a lot of people know that Odebear has come in, not played any games this season. Really, would you chuck him into a game like that? I don't think so. But then, is Mikey more mature enough to handle that game? He's done it all season in the Europa League, and he's done it. I thought he played really well today as well. So is he big enough to play 90 minutes against Liverpool in the semi-final? We'll find out. But I think the only one I probably would put back in if he's fit is Solanke. I feel like we missed him a little bit today. I feel there was a lot of balls in the box where I could just envisage Solanke on the end of it. So he's probably the only one that I would put back in 100% over the players that have been playing at the moment. But listen, you've got this. At the end of the day, you just got to go for it, right? We're 1-0 up. Technically, all we need is a draw, but you don't want to leave it to hope. And it is fucking hard for us. Like it's the worst of the 3 teams we could have got in that draw, in my opinion. So,
if I'm right, Solanke's they're looking at Man City, aren't they, for Solanke? I think they're saying that Man City game he should be available. I think he was like 3 weeks away.
oh really? I thought he was in the 7 to 10 day one. No,
they're
okay,
looking at the Man City game. Man City game.
That's it. I thought he was in that 7 to 10 day camp. But like people like you, Doggy, as well. Like, was he performing at such a high level before that you'd now take Spence out of the team? I don't think so. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, it is.
It is tough. Like, I genuinely just trust Andrew with this situation at the moment. Like, he's gotten to a semi-final. He's got the result in the first leg. I am super, super hopeful that we get something in this leg. Obviously, we all want a final at Wembley, but I think it's still going to be fucking tough. Proper tough.
Yeah, and I guess one of the biggest things there, and anyone knows it, is Anfield, under the lights, the Cop, big nights, cup nights, European but domestic cup nights. They're a different beast. So is it, Matt, about controlling the tempo of the game early? And would us playing so advanced or high if we had Van der Ven, like, could that almost go into their favour because they're going to be up for it as a crowd, and that really therefore feeds itself, drips itself onto the pitch? So is it almost about us being very condensed, very sort of mature, and not giving much space to quieten that crowd for half an hour, and then be able to take our chance, get them, break quickly in transition, nick a second goal, and almost like, just strangle them and don't give them any space? Not easy to do, but sounds like it might be the best thing, right?
I think going to Anfield, you have to manage moments. And I think the first 15 to 20 minutes at Anfield, you have to manage like the occasion as well. And I do think the way we finished against Brentford today, like keeping the ball, slowing down the tempo, players going down, just taking your time to silence the crowd. We're going to have to do that at Anfield, and then look to hopefully break away between the 20th, 30th minute and try and score a goal on a counter-attack, and then see it through to half-time and regroup. I honestly do think we'll leave that game with a 2-2. I think we will leave 2-2. If we don't get spanked, it'll be a 2-2. We went there the back end of last season and tried to play Ange ball and got ripped apart.
But even that was a close one in the end, wasn't it? Didn't we come back near the end? It was like,
come on, Lee. Liverpool were like 4-0 up, mate. They took their foot off the gas. If they would have continued on their way they were going, mate, they would have hit double figures. I don't think we can afford to go like full on Ange ball. I think we have to soak up pressure again and just manage the first 20 minutes. It's in a negative approach, basically.
If we score first, which is an unlikely prospect, but if we score first, that fucking crowd will drop, mate. Their atmosphere will drop.
Do you think?
Yeah. Listen, the Anfield atmosphere is a fucking myth, mate. It's like it lasts for about fucking 3 minutes at the beginning of the game, and then they all shut up. Honestly.
If we concede in the first 10, like Robbie's put on TikTok, we've conceded in the first 10, I fear for us. It's a long way back.
I do too.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of Liverpool boys in the office, and honestly, I would love to fucking do them. Honestly, I would love it.
Can it go extra time, or is it straight to pens?
Straight to pens.
Extra time. Is it straight to pens
now?
I thought it's extra time at this point. Nah.
Is it?
I know. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, we had the same situation with Chelsea. Yeah. Do you remember the situation with Chelsea where
You're right.
I think we won 1-0 at home, and we went to Chelsea and we lost 2-1. And normally we'd go through on away goals, but they got rid of it that season. And then there was extra time, and obviously, we went out.
Penalties. No, so we'll be extra time. Yeah. So, that's never great. We don't want to get down that route.
Big week this week. Huge.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. I don't know if I'll be looking forward to like the 4-hour drive home if we lose, with Kevin, my year-old, giving it the old fucking this, fucking that. But if we win, I'll be loving it.
He does get like a bit of a Jack Russell, doesn't he, sometimes? Like...
he's got to let him have his moment.
But then, I mean, that's one game. But what's, as important is Sunday. Then I imagine it will be Sunday, which is Aston Villa, FA Cup 4th round, away at Villa Park. Another tough place to go to. We've had success over there, in recent years. But, like, Matt, I know we can't even look past Liverpool yet, but this is a defining week for us because, like TJ said earlier, we're looking at the cups now. The league, if we sort of become about 10th, we'd almost say it's not too bad in the end. So that Villa game, like, how important is that? And can you look at these two games separately? As if it doesn't go well at Liverpool, you know, we can be motivated for Villa. We're going to have to be, aren't we?
Yeah, obviously we've got to go for both. Do you know what? I don't really fear Villa. Like, I feel like our recent record against Villa is good. And their defensive back line is just as bad as our defensive back line at the moment. They've got a lot of injuries now. I think like Watkins and that even went off injured yesterday, you know. Them playing in the Champions League and that, I know they've got, I don't know, so their next game is us, isn't it? So they've got a week's rest.
Yeah.
They got nothing midweek. They got nothing midweek, which is a bit of a bummer because we're playing Thursday and then them. The best thing about it as well, I think we've got a 6,000 allocation for that, no? For
6.5, yeah, 6.5.
Yeah.
So that's massive because I think West Ham only got about 4,000 in the FA Cup third round. So I don't know. I think it's good that we're taking a big support and we'll be loud. And mate, I fancy to get a result at Villa. I do.
Does that come with a replay? If we
no
do
replays. No replays. No.
So they'd have to go all the way.
That's going to be tough, though, boys. That's going to be tough, that Villa one, because we've pumped them the last two times, like absolutely pumped them.
It was four. We beat them 4. Was it 4-1 at home the last game, and then 4-0 at their ground, wasn't it? Last two.
Yeah.
But look, let's just hope, you know, like I feel like their defensive lineup, and also it depends on if we bring in more players, like between tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah. So then saying that, I know, Tej, you said a 2-2 draw, didn't you? Oh no, who said a 2-2? You did, Tej. It was you who said 2-2 Liverpool. Oh, Matt said it. Sorry. Yeah. So, Tej, what do you think for Liverpool?
I think I would take the draw all day long. I feel like.
Do you believe?
Yeah, like 1-1, I think something like that. Like I've kind of in my head, I've just destined 1-1. I'm manifesting. My missus does all that manifesting. She's got me into it. So I've been manifesting a 1-1 draw, like for us to fucking
right.
I'd love to nick. I'd love for it to be 0-0 till like the 83rd minute, and then we fucking score and do them. Like I'd love that. But I'm being practical. I think I'd take a draw all day long. Like a 1-1 draw. I'd love that. Get to the final.
2-2, 1-1. We're through. I believe. I'm just scared about. I'm scared. I don't like it being so tight and nervous and so, you know, on a knife edge. Villa, I couldn't really say. Again, because the days of replays are gone, I'd have been right if we had to get a replay from Villa and bring it back home. But I do take a lot of encouragement and momentum from the fact that we've beat them well. Like you said, they've got injuries. They're playing a lot, even though they're not playing the week. You know, it's catching up with them. They lost yesterday. So I'm gonna say a draw at Liverpool as well and a win away, and the cup continue. The cup campaigns can continue.
Look at us! Look, we've just beat Brentford, and look at us! Like we're going to beat everyone. We got Real Madrid.
The treble's on. The treble's on.
But, do you two believe? Do you think we'll beat Villa, both of you?
Mate, we're full of confidence, mate. We just smashed Brentford, mate. We're going for it, mate. We're going to win. We're going to draw, and we'll go through, and we'll beat Villa.
Villa's the team that I always like to play, and there's a couple of reasons behind it. It's firstly because we normally beat them. Like they're one of the teams who got the best. It used to be Everton as well, actually, but in the teams that are like mainstays in the Premier League, we've got a really good record against Villa. And also, I lived in Birmingham for my uni life, so I used to go Villa away. Is probably the game I've done the most out of all the away days I could possibly do. And I had never seen us lose there. We'd won every game I went to, which was brilliant.
You going Sunday?
Sadly not. This is the thing. I didn't want to say it because
I
can't make it. I actually can't make it. But I'll be tuning in as usual.
So you've been messaging around saying, "Yeah, I'm taking your ticket, and now you're saying you're not going."
I'll take everyone's tickets for this one. I've got loads of family that are going up there. To be fair, I've got friends and family that are going that need tickets. But yeah, but no, yeah, I've got to stand as a 2-1 away win at Villa.
Keep manifesting, mate.
It's going to be tough. I think they're a bit of a wounded animal at the moment, and they're looking for a result. The sad thing is they which is good for English football, but who gives a fuck when it comes to that really? But they crept into that top 8, didn't they, in the Champions League, which means they missed the midweek matches as well in February. Because otherwise they would have had a midweek game on Tuesday or Wednesday the following week, which they would have had one eye on, I think. But now obviously they got a rest. They've literally got a week's rest to the game and a week's rest after the game. So they're going to be all FA Cup focus, whereas we're obviously Liverpool at the moment. That's all we got to think about for now. But yeah, I'm hoping for a 2-1 at Villa, given our recent record. And yeah, I think there's something magical about the cups this year, and I'm hoping we stay in it. I still think Europa League's the one for us, though. I'll say it over the other two. I think Europa League is the one we got the best chance in.
Interesting, isn't it? Because of all the things that have been happening, I think we've still been favourite to win it. So, which is mad, when you look at the context of how the season's gone. But I'll take it. But yeah, so massive week. That starts obviously Thursday and then Sunday. But then tomorrow is the end of the transfer window. Now it's been a weird few days with Spurs. We agreed a deal with a winger at Bayern Munich. Tell didn't want to come. And it looked like we were going to get Tomori from Milan, didn't want to come. Now it's Kevin Danzo. I mean, it's the 2nd of February. Transfer window closed on the 3rd. We got Kinski New Year's Day, you could say. And then it took another month, literally a month. 1st of February, Danzo, the name came out. Like, it's not been another... I know it's a tough window, but considering how things are and what we've needed a little bit, it's not been the best. And do you realistically... Matt, I'll start with you. Do you realistically see anything else happening tomorrow?
No, I do. I know Andrew's come out and said he wants another attacking player. I'm going to be honest, boys. Why don't we go for Jack Grealish on loan to the end of the season? Like, go get him. He's not even playing at Man City.
But is he available, though?
It's got to be. Like, he's not even playing, mate. They keep bringing on James McAtee instead of him. Like, why not go for, like, Jack Grealish on loan to the end of the season? I know the wages and that, but... Mate, we have money available. I think there's been a lot of talk about this, haven't they? Like, Tottenham could spend 200 million this window and still we'd be nowhere near financial fair play. Like, so we have the money. I do think, like, with us going for that Disassi from Chelsea, that makes me think that there's a setback with Ramiro. Because why would we now go for another defender, even though we've got this Danso in? So why are we going for another one? Are they unsure on the Ramiro situation? I do think we'll sign another defender.
Really?
But I don't know about another attacker. But I'd like another attacker.
It's interesting. But Tees, you're like, with it literally being, 24 hours, just over 24 hours now, considering how Levy deals with these things, like, I don't know. Like, I'm not very hopeful for much because of how I've seen this play out and all these other years play out. But what are you thinking?
Mate, we've been rejected more times than a shit singer on X Factor. Honestly, it's a fucking joke, mate. Like, every player we've gone in for is give us the X. Like, it's mad. Like, it's embarrassing. And the biggest one was that Tell. Levy flew out there, face-to-face interview, and he fucking custopied him. If that doesn't tell you the state the club's in at the moment, that Levy thinks he can go out there and talk someone into coming into the club and still get the elbow. Come on, listen, Levy doesn't get off scot-free. I don't want to focus on it because we've had such a positive day in performance, but Levy has failed us this window massively. He's known that we've had an injury crisis for the past month, and the only time I've heard about business is this weekend. That's not acceptable from a board. Like, that's not acceptable. So I have no real strong conviction of anybody else coming in this window. I also feel like if it's done now, it's kind of acts of desperation. So yeah, I'm not too confident about anyone they sign. Even the Danso one for me, I mean, I didn't hear about it until a few days before this weekend, and I'm kind of like, what's going on? Are they just grabbing players they can at the moment?
Because a winger now a defender.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? And I don't know. He's not a bad player, to be fair. And I'm hoping he performs well, but I feel like.
Sorry, Tim. We had to go for a defender because of Radu injury on Thursday night, though, didn't we? So we had no choice to go for a defender.
Yeah, fair. That's a fair comment as well. But I just feel like the Spurs transfer window at the moment screams desperation, which all that means for me is overpay for someone you're not sure on, and that's the wrong way we should have acted in this market, especially given what we need. We need someone who's stable, someone who's experienced in pushing at the top end of competitions. And whilst that is difficult to find in January, I feel like if you start looking for that in December, you might be able to fucking have the conversations on day one in January. Whereas hearing about transfers in the last 3 days, it's not for me. So I personally don't think we'll sign anyone else. I think we've done well getting Kinski in. I think he's a good signing, a keeper. Probably not the position that we needed the most, but I'm glad that he's in because I think he's going to be good for the future, and he's a good number 2 to Vicario. And we brought the defender into, given the injuries we got there. Anything else at this point, I'm like, it just screams desperation to me.
Do you know when we bidded for that tell? Yeah, I thought, I don't believe this transfer. I thought that was done on Thursday morning because Levy knew we had a home game Thursday night, and he wanted to just try and show the crowd that he's doing something, so the crowd don't go in there with a toxic atmosphere that evening. We all know it was never going to be that because Europa League crowd in the group stage is totally different to your Premier League crowd. And then straight after that, Radu got injured. Then we went in for Tomori and got rejected by him as well. So apparently, though, Danso fits what we're doing more than like Tomori. And Tomori was just a name that we was bidding for. But I think Tell, do you think we was ever properly going for him? I know I didn't think it was at first.
No one really believed, I don't think.
We had the bid accepted, though, no?
Yeah, no, I thought we were bidding for him.
And then Levy offered him a tenner a week, and he probably said, fuck that.
I thought we were bidding for him to get Arsenal or Chelsea to go and bid a little bit higher to make sure they've spent their money this window and they're not going to go in for no one else.
Yeah, it's
potentially.
It's interesting. I mean, as I say, I don't hold out for much. I just,
Where do we need a player? Where do we need a player?
I like the winger. I would like the winger with some pace. You know, when I was talking about this Tell, I didn't know much about him, and I spoke to Kevin. He went, "Yeah, the guy's got pace in abundance, can dribble with the ball." And so, like, we need that. We need another Aaron Lennon type because Brennan Johnson isn't that.
Have you seen his stats this season? They're not like.
No, he hasn't played.
They're not 50 million for me. Like, the geezer's not 50 million.
No.
When's Turbo back?
Johnson.
Back in Leipzig? When's he back?
Werner. Oh God!
When's he back in Leipzig?
Mate, we're missing him.
No, yeah,
we're missing Turbo.
But that's the thing. We do miss that kind of player, but I don't know who's out there. Who's out there who would? I want someone who can run and beat that. It just will help us.
I'm going to be honest. I think dangle the carrot and try and get Jack Grealish on loan. Me personally, I would. If the geezer's just not playing, like he's on too much money at Man City. Man City have spent a lot of money this window. Just go and try and get him on loan and cover his wages. Just go and get him.
I would happily take Grealish. Just a street footballer type mentality. He fits Spurs perfectly, even better than Maddison, who I thought would really flourish as a Spurs player. Had in moments. He's got 8 goals this season in the league, but you know, I think Grealish is, you know, let him do what he does, and I think he will shine like his Villa form, and even at his best at City. But he's too controlled now, and I don't think that's what he needs. So he'd flourish under Ange, but I just don't know. I saw him on the bench today. I know he didn't come on like you say, but it just feels like, I don't know how much he must be on and what we'd be able to do. For me, I'd love it, but I just can't see it. I just cannot.
I think
see anybody.
If there was a choice, he would go back to Villa, but with Villa paying Rashford's wages, with him potentially going there, it now opens the door for us potentially to try and go in for him.
Yeah, interesting. It will be interesting. Let's hope in 24 hours' time we have got a name or 2 or 3, you know, and make it. But again, we've sort of been let down by our chairman. And next week we'll talk about the upcoming March. As I say, we don't really want to bog it down today. It's been a lot more positive today, and that will come because that cannot be forgotten. That Man United March cannot be forgotten when that game happens on the 16th of February. But to finish off, you know, we talked about transfers, players coming in. We saw players step up on Thursday, and you know, a lot of people can say, "Oh, it's Ellsborg" and stuff like that. But when you're a young academy prospect and you come on, and you know, we've seen Mikey Moore, we've seen touches of Scarlett, and Damola now. What a lovely goal that was! Like, Matty, how proud was you to see these three boys get us over the line in what was a bit of a tough, not a tough game, but a bit of a tough watch because we weren't breaking the deadlock. 70 minutes in, it was 0-0. But then the three boys gave some magic, and a night to remember for all of them.
I think it's just proud. No matter how much shit time we've been over the last couple of months, I feel like that was just a proud moment, because we all want to see these young kids coming through. And mate, Mikey Moore, we know he's going to be around that squad for years to come. Dane Scarlett, has he got the rest of this season to try and prove himself? Is he? Do you know what I mean? This is what I think with Dane Scarlett and Will Lancashire. I feel like it was splitting off, that you're going to go on loan for half the season and you're going to go on loan for half the season. And I think in the summer, we might offload one to make 100% profit on that player. Do you know what? That's what I believe. I think we're only going to keep one of them, but because I definitely don't think we're going to keep two of them. One might get loaned out next season, but one of them will get offloaded in the next year or two. But look, is it in Jay? Mate, like he's just a young kid. Do you know what I mean? It was a proud moment for him. Do you know what I mean? But will we see him again? Don't know.
It was lovely, and it was a lovely goal as well. And this is the thing from Scarlett. It was a lovely header from Scarlett, to go back to him. And he's got that in his locker. Like when I've seen him in friendlies, he obviously scored in that last game that Kane played against Shakhtar. He scored in the last minute. He's got a finisher's touch about him, Teves. Like I feel like he does deserve a bit more chances. We did put him on loan a bit. Obviously now Lancashire's gone to West Brom. But what do you think of Dane Scarlett?
Yeah, I feel like he's had his. I'll be honest with you. I feel like Scarlett did get a bit of a bite of cherry before, and I don't think he really stepped up the last time he had the option, which is why I think he went on that little on the loan spells, went back into the under-21s and stuff like that. But he did look. I know it's only one performance, but he did look a lot more mature. Like his movement around the box, like firstly to get the header, but he set up the second one as well. And I felt like his little layoff for that was fantastic. He seems like he's matured a lot. He's a little bit older now. He's still a kid, but he's a little bit older. I would like to see him more. I'd like to see more.
Dane Scarlett, right? He feels like he's been around for years and he's not aged.
How old is he? What is he, like 21 or something?
21 something, but he feels like he's been around about 10 years.
It's because you hear these players all the time. We had the same with Parrott when he was there. You had that boy who went to Sporting. He even played against us recently. These players are in the academy from so young, and they're kind of picked out the crowd very young. And you start hearing them, especially people like us who watch the academies and stuff like that. You hear about them for so long that you feel like they've been in the club for years, and effectively they have. But as adult professionals, they haven't at all. But yeah, listen, I think the way we do the loan spells tends to work quite well if they come back and get integrated. Harry Kane was a man who went out on 3 loan spells before he became our all-time top goal scorer. Do I think Dane Scarlett's going to replicate that? I'd love to eat my hat at some point, but I don't. But I would also like to see the boy get a chance. And listen, it could happen. We've got a run of games now where we're going to need to rotate. Solanke's not in the team. They didn't end that loan spell for no reason. They brought him back because they're looking to play him. They're looking for cover in that area. So he'll get games if we remain in all of the competitions. I fully think that'll happen. But he'll have to take his chance, because I feel like he did get a little bit of a bite of the cherry before and probably didn't step up as much as he was expected to at the time. But I do think
came on today.
Yeah. I mean, like, it didn't really affect the game today, I don't think, but it came on quite late, right? But yeah, listen, I think he will get game time, get minutes, but it's up to him to take it. And if he does, fucking fantastic, because I have seen stuff I like about him. So yeah, hopefully.
And Matt, how far do you think Mikey Moore can go? What do you like? What do you think his key attributes are, and how far can he go as a Tottenham player?
Mate, it looks promising, doesn't he? Like, the thing is, he's only 17, yeah? 17 coming on 18 and whatnot. I think with players like this, there's no point just building them up, because you never know with injuries and that in the player's career, do you know what I mean? So you have to just go with it. But right now, he's definitely in the right path to be such an amazing talent. But like at such a young age, you've just got to let him enjoy his football and develop. Do you know what I mean? He needs the right people around him to just keep coaching him and make him a good player. Like you look at that lot down the road, mate. They've got that Ethan Iwani, whatever his name is. He's the same age as Mike. And people are comparing them to already. You're like, mate, they're both just young kids. Just let them play, you know?
Yeah.
They're both just brilliant players for the future. Just let them play.
One thing I will say about like players like Mikey Moore is I'm a firm believer in like baptism by fire and hard times breed hard people. Like, and I think, and you've heard a lot of people say this, like, you know, this time will serve them well in the future. And I fully back that statement. I think the fact that the boys have been put into situations that they have at such a young age will only harden their experience as professionals later on. Like they will look back at these times and they will be able to build on them. And I've always said, like, you put people in the fire and you see how they deal with it. And I think players like Mikey Moore, Archie Gray, even Bergvall to some extent, these players have had to play a serious chunk of time as fucking teenagers in this team with limited experience at this level beforehand. And I think they've all performed very well. And it will only do them good going forward. There's no negatives for them from this period at all.
Fantastic, lads. It's been a really positive podcast. Lovely. It's lovely to do it on a Sunday night straight after a win. Yeah, let's hope this is the same
again
way.
Next week, boys, yeah?
Same win next week. Let's hope. And we're in a final and a cup 5th round. We can only dream. That's it. But lads, thanks very much. Thanks for everyone who's been listening, been watching on the socials, wherever you sort of consume our content. We love it. Thank you very much. Keep getting in touch. We love your messages and love you getting involved in the chats. And we'll be back next week. As we say, let's hope we are running with cup campaigns still and that we've all got a smile on our face. It has been the Heart and Our Here Spurs Fans podcast, proudly sponsored by joinit.co.uk. We will be back next week. Keep the faith. Keep strong. Stay lucky. We'll be lucky. Let's get through these cup campaigns. We'll see you next week. Come on, you Spurs.
Up the plan B.